Hey, Solidus here, and today we are going to be talking about another new feature being introduced into Shadowlands, and it is all about how we level our characters, or more specifically, how you are going to be leveling your ults. Straight from the bat, I can tell you that I think this is a great system and is something that has been long overdue in this game, and it is called the Threads of Fate. So let's get into it. So before we get going on this, let's just briefly talk about the leveling experience as a whole in Shadowlands. When the expansion releases on the 27th of October next month, we will all be going to the Icecrown Citadel and speaking with Bolvar 4 Dragon and making our way into the Shadowlands at level 50. And when you first get there, without spoiling too much, you end up in the Moor and you are having to escape. You come across a few characters that we may know and love, and by the time you've done that scenario, which typically takes me around 30 minutes now after doing this several times, you are level 51 pretty much at the end of it. It's a great introduction to the expansion. It gives you a chance to try out some of your new abilities and so on and so forth. But it gives you a level, so it's definitely worth doing. And then you will end up in Oribos, the major city that we will be spending most of our time in the Shadowlands. Now, the first time you play, and the first character that you take from 50 to 60, you have to do the zones in a certain order, and you start off in Bastion. You do a few quests, and then you get sent to Bastion, and you follow the storyline. When you finish that zone, you're about level 53, before you progress into Maldraxxus, and then you keep on going until eventually all of the 4 zones are complete. Now, the first time that you do this, I would imagine it will take you anywhere between 6 to 8 hours, probably on the longer side the first time, especially if you want to read the quests and take your time going through them. I'd really recommend doing that. The quests are good, the story has been enjoyable for me, and yeah, it'll take around 6 to 8 hours to take you from 50 to 60. As of right now, just doing the story mode, the story quest, will not take you all the way to 60 either. You are going to have to run a few dungeons, do a few bonus objectives, and so on and so forth. But overall, it gets you fairly close, and you will go to 60 in no time. Now, when it comes to your ults, Blizzard have just announced a new feature, which is called Threads of Fate, and it turns ult leveling on its head. So let's have a look at, first of all, what you have to do with your main character and what you will be doing in endgame, for instance. And I'm not going to be touching on all of it, just a few key things. So as we know, we'll be joining a covenant at level 60. We'll be pledging our allegiance to whichever has the best covenant ability for us. And you will start doing more questing for that covenant. You will be collecting anima, depositing it into your sanctum. You will be getting levels of renown and unlocking some cosmetic appearances and so on and so forth, and progressing through that way. Now, when it comes to your ults, the Threads of Fate is going to allow you to start working on that straight away. So you don't have to wait till you're level 60. You can do it at level 50/51 when you arrive in Oribos. And how is that happening? Well, quite simply put, when you get there, you will meet the Fate Scribe, which is, his name is Rotal, and he is standing on the edge of Oribos. And you go and speak to him, and he tells you that your soul has something special about it, and time is something that can be bent at his will, and so on and so forth. And if you choose, you can bend the time so that people in Oribos and the Shadowlands recognize you as someone that's been there for a while and has done many great deeds, and you can choose a covenant straight away, and so on and so forth. And you are presented with an option, which is you can either replay the story mode as you are meant to, i.e. start in Bastion and work your way through, or you can activate the Threads of Fate, and it will allow you to complete the story mode straight away. You can pick your covenant straight away, and you can start earning renown and reputation and all sorts towards your covenant. And what it does is it unlocks all of the side quests, world quests, and dungeons you can then start doing to level up instead. So instead of having to go through the story modes, you can just play as you like. You can go straight to Ardenweald, for instance, if you are going to be in the Night Fae Covenant, and you can see all of the side quests on the map. You can see where they all are. You can run around, collect all the flight points. You can do those quests. You can queue up for dungeons, and you can see all the world quests that are on the map, and you can start doing and leveling that way. So it's giving you a choice, and the game will even give you an indication of where, like a suggestion on where to go with a quest, which will ask you to aid a certain zone, and then once you've completed it by filling up a bar to 100%, you will get given some gear of the relevant eye level, and so on and so forth. And you do this as you wish, all the way up to level 60. You cannot change your mind halfway through and go back. So you've got to really make sure that this is what you want to do. Now, for me personally, this is what I will be doing, because it allows you to start working on your renown with your Covenant straight from the get-go. So it is a bit of a catch-up mechanic for you. So if you are having, like me, I am having a Mythic Plus character and I am having a Raid character, it just means that you will be able to get going early and not waste as much time leveling. Granted, it's only 6 to 8 hours, dependent on, probably around 6. The more you do it, I've leveled up a few times now, so just running through the stories quite quick. But it's entirely up to you. So overall, I think the system is really, really good. It's quite Diablo-esque in a sense, with the adventure mode, how you can level up that way. I think this is long overdue. It's something that's going to be a really good addition to the game. There are some downsides to this, though. From my testing, from my initial testing, and I haven't tested it in a great deal. I've gone from level 50 to level 53 on my monk character. There are a few drawbacks. One, I definitely think this is going to be a slower leveling experience. You won't get to 60 potentially as quick. If you're in a group, for instance, though, when you're blitzing through dungeons and world quests, then yeah, absolutely, you might very well do. But overall, it felt slower. As an example, when I went to Ardenweald and I had to fill the bar up to 100% to do that part of the quest, it went up really, really slowly. So whenever I completed a world quest, it went up by 3 or 5%. The problem was there was only 2 or 3 world quests active in that zone at that time. The quests that I was completing, they typically went up 3%. Yeah, so you have to do quite a few side quests. The fact that you have not got any of the flight points is a pain, and you have to run around, similar to the story mode, but the story kind of takes you to all the places where the flight points are. With this, you've got to run specifically to those areas and get them. But obviously, you're going to do that for endgame anyway and having them all unlocked. The other thing that I noticed as well is you can do dungeons in that zone to progress through the bar as well. So, for instance, you could do Mists of Turn Aside in Ardenweald. When I got to Revendreth, which was the next zone that I wanted to unlock, obviously you could do quests there. The problem that I had was I couldn't queue up for it in the looking for group finder because my eye level wasn't the right high eye level, and I needed to jump it up by 20. Now, jumping it up 20 eye levels whilst questing was quite difficult. The way that I looked at doing that was through world quests. There were 2 world quests that gave me gear upgrade, and it would not have taken me up to the required eye level to be able to queue for it in the dungeon finder. Not too much of an issue because you can still get a pre-made group and go in. So if you've got friends, you can do that. But if you're playing solo, that is something to bear in mind. This, for me, is definitely the slower way of leveling to 60. Probably not by much, but I think the plus things of being able to work on the end game stuff straight away from level 50 is totally worthwhile. So that, for me, is the reason why I would be choosing this one. So overall, it's really great. There's still a few bugs that they need to iron out, such as not getting your Covenant ability straight away. I unlocked Night Fae, the Fae line Stomp on my monk at level 51, and I never actually got able to access it until like halfway through 52. when the game just decided to give it to me, essentially. So there are a few bugs that they are working through. They've got 7 weeks to fix it. But overall, a great addition to the game. And I, for one, applaud them for putting this in and trying something different. Let me know what you think. Which one are you going to be going down? Are you going to be leveling your alts in this new style, or are you going to just blitz through the story like normal and as you should? Thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel and so you get notified of any new information, news or class guides around Shadowlands in the very near future. Thank you very much for watching.